Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Wednesday. It's May 29th, 2024. Can you believe this month is almost over? It's kind of crazy. And summer, official summer, is just around the corner. I'm not rushing it. I'm definitely not rushing it. Just saying, that's all. Yeah, it's a lovely day today. I hope you're doing well. Got the window open, and there has been hella construction on my street, but they seem to have moved on to another spot right now, so I felt like it might be safe to open my window. I hope I'm not wrong about that. But the birds chirping is so pleasant, wouldn't you agree? One more cut. Okay, we got the Seven of Swords. What's he trying to get away with? The Sun? Exposure. Get away from exposure. Oh. Trying to escape a shocking revelation. Hold on now. Oh, shit. What's that? The Magician. Just a slip of the hand, but you know, I'll entertain it. The Magician and the Knight of Cups. With the Magician, the Knight of Cups and the Magician. Is the Seven of Swords trying to get away from the Emperor, or is the Seven of Swords the Emperor? Wow, Queen of Cups and Empress. Well, that didn't really actually give me what I need. Well, actually, maybe it did, because that's kind of two different energies too. And with the cups here. All right, so yeah, let me see something. And then this is kind of a couple situation. So I don't know, I'm feeling like this is some type of somebody's trying to get away with some assault or a disturbance that they caused. They're trying to get like running from the spotlight of exposure here. Something was caused, indeed, but what they're trying to escape is being caught and charged for whatever it was, for whatever their part was in it, right? And then you have the Magician, the King of Cups, the Knight of Cups, the Empress and the Queen of Cups. Damn, this is kind of tricky. Oh, and there's Judgment and there's the Chariot. The cards is just like, let me help you out, girl. So somebody's not getting away far. Let's just say that with the Judgment card here, and they may not even see what they're running into. However, they still caused a great deal of damage in their path. The only thing I'm still unclear about is whether or not this is the Emperor that did this, or if he's trying to get away from the Emperor. I feel like it's two different energies here. But maybe that's because I'm sensing these two energies here, like whatever was caused was on account of this Emperor. To two people or to a couple. It's a lot of different energies here though. With the Knight, the Empress, the Queen, the Magician, it's like maybe this is the dismantling of an empire, not necessarily an emperor. And whatever that establishment is, the Judgment, maybe this is people scattering, trying to escape the wrath and the judgment or retribution that is set to be paid on account of this exposure. Definitely some mystical energy involved, either manipulation or magic with the Magician card. Definitely emotional manipulation or spiritual manipulation here with the Knight of Cups. Almost an offer being made to the Empress and or Queen of Cups. Or interference between that offer by way of the Empress. Yeah. And that's an interference in love. Okay, so from love moving forward with the Chariot hidden here, successfully moving forward. So there's been some spiritual manipulation occurring in a community or a coven or some establishment or fraternal order of sorts that has backfired. Let's say that the reason for the exposure is it backfiring. Whatever this whatever this collusion was, it has multiple parts or had multiple parts, but it was an infraction against I would say, yeah, as I said, getting away with or getting away from. It probably was a little bit of both, like the advancement of source through divine unions. So causing a wedge, destruction, dismantling, disagreement, distortion, or an overall disconnect between partnerships that had promise, is what I'm seeing. That had promise to build and grow in some productive sense. Whatever it was profitable, whether the exchange was power or material reward, position, access, authority, and there are different levels of engagement within this association, because you got some that are on some mystical stuff, you know, maybe some practitioners or some warlocks, witches, so on and so forth. You got some in high level positions of authority, maybe having a certain access publicly or powerfully to certain resources and things of that nature. Then you got kind of like the henchmen here with the Seven of Swords that may kind of do the dirty work. Then you got the Knight of Cups, who are more or less like, what would they be, like the finessers? So like the representatives, you know, like almost like the salesmen, recruiters, like recruiters of the establishment. There's something weird here. Something real weird. I don't even know where to go, where to start right now. All right, let's see what we got. I'm gonna keep this out, and then we'll start from scratch with the rest. All right. Let's get a little shuffle on. Yeah, like I said, not going very far with the Nine of, and it may be a matter of, no, it feels like a top-down dismantling from what would be the highest position of authority down to, again, the henchmen or the hitmen, or, you know, like the, what would you call it? I guess the henchmen. That's usually kind of like the lower man on the totem pole of a chain of command, that they just carry out the orders of execution, you know, whatever that may be, literally or figuratively. They don't, it's like there's no emotional connection to what needs to be done. They get their orders, they carry them out, and that's it. And you got the ones that are given the orders at the top that remain faceless and nameless, and to some degree keep their hands clean. But yeah, with the Tower, that's a top-down destruction. So it seems like nobody is safe, from the Alpha to the Omega, the beginning to the end. Everybody is in danger of exposure. Six of Cups, some type, yeah, that's that familiar, that's that love energy that's been under attack. And that's giving past lifetime vibes as well. So it's not just any old love, it's keeping a certain frequency of partnership disconnected. Partnership that has high level potential. Well, that's been the aim, that's been the goal. Yeah, to absorb that, you know, more or less kind of collect that energy, store it almost as trophies or as like kind of collecting souls. Yeah, and this is what's leaving behind. The Five of Pentacles. So leaving couples in despair or never, or, you know, hard up to connect at all. If they even make it to connect, it causes all types of disturbances and imbalances within that union. And it somehow is transmuted into some type of spiritual force fuel. So it could be based on the satisfaction of like feeding the ego in some, you know, type of God complex energy with the Fool card. Yeah, there's a devil energy. So also, and I was thinking that too when I was looking at the Emperor, it's ultimately like running game for the dark forces, because the last thing, as is depicted here, that adverse energy would want is for benevolent beings to align and co-create or procreate on any level, because that just compounds the creative consciousness and evolves creation altogether, as opposed to continuously cycling toxic connections or lower vibrational cycles of trauma and things that, like, if nobody gets healed and but yet there's still continuous procreation, then that is the delivery of a deficient seed that more or less the dark forces can count on to be able to then kind of herd as sheep and cattle for whatever the ulterior agenda may be, to keep the world in imbalance and built on foundations that are faulty, which ultimately continuously lead to destruction and despair. So it's like these organizations are working for that cause. So that's their vested interest, to maintain a position of power and authority, whatever seat of power they have appointed themselves to or been appointed to in some way, shape, or form, is secured by way of, it's literally like warlock energy, warlock and time lords. Like, it's secured by the magnitude of destruction that they're able to incite and maintain. So it's a lose-lose if too many people get free and start finding themselves to the best as the best of themselves, and then finding their way to connections with others who have done the same, and then procreating in a way that is more or less evolving creation forward, or even back to its original form of bliss and peace and prosperity and productivity. So we know this though, like, we know that there's been an agenda to keep creation captive. But what's happening now is that, as I said, those that have been facilitating that lower frequency from the top down, it seems to me that probably everybody's trying to run for cover at this point, because it's crumbling from the top down and from the inside out. And there is, for the most part, because the operation is faulty, is faltering. What used to work as a method of madness doesn't really work so much anymore. So therefore, it's not able to kind of like keep that revolving door open of new prospects to carry out orders or to carry out, you know, the dirty work, or to keep the operation in flow. And those that are at the top of the food chain either have had to kind of like come down to involve themselves in matters that typically they would be more disconnected from. So there lies a new layer of vulnerability and exposure there, because somebody has to get the job done, right? Or the whole thing blows up. Like I said, there's a great debt to be paid, and whatever that contract is with the devil card, it's non-negotiable. The terms are non-negotiable. There's a certain expectation of, again, destruction and turmoil that's supposed to be maintained. It's like, you know, having a quota, a quota of chaos. And these organizations are not quite able to keep up with the demand of those terms as much as they have been. It was much easier before, when people were less aware of themselves, less aware of the threats, seen and unseen, to their vitality. Even when henchmen were more impressionable to take orders without any questions asked. It may even be some disruption within the ranks of the power dynamic and the power structure itself, where people are not so willing to just do as they're told, or even to take the brunt of the backlash. There may have been more of like an unspoken understanding, more or less, or maybe even a fear within the dynamics of this ranking, where at the Seven of Swords, and you know what it probably is? It's that there was a bit more of a security for those that are ahead of these institutions or organizations, whatever they are, associations, affiliations, I don't even know what you want to call it. But there was more of a security there because of the obscurity of the truth. You know, that imagine, first of all, there's enough power and influence to kind of squash any objection, or like say a whistleblower or something like that, and that there was always enough power to go around to kind of cut someone off at the knees if need be and disassociate them. Like, what's it called? What's that term? Incommunicado, or whatever that term is, when I can't hear it. It's right on the tip of my tongue, like from John Wick. Damn, I know it too, and it's gonna piss me off. Maybe it'll come to me later. But anyway, it was easy to kind of just eliminate any threats before, like any wild cards or rogue associates. You could even deem them crazy, or somehow, you know, set them up to kind of like hang themselves. But now, again, there's too much light shed in dark spaces where it's like there's more potential for stranger than fiction type stories to be believable now than ever before. And so people have even more of a nerve to shed light on their experiences, to expose hidden truths, even to, give up the tape on superiors if need be. There's less of a fear here of retaliation or even elimination altogether than there has been in the past, which is what kind of kept things a bit more sacred, or at least more secure. Not really sacred, because that's too nice of a word to use for something like this, but more secret and secure. Primarily for more of the leaders than everybody else from the middle down. Like middle management down on down is disposable for the leaders that have the most to gain and of course have the most to lose. But it's a different dynamic now. What used to be like just unbelievable, like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory, that don't make no sense. It's like people are more prone to actually perk up to that intel than they are before, and that also kind of makes it so that nobody is really invincible anymore. Everybody can get it. So let's see what else we got here. Uh-oh, here comes the I have to close this window. Here comes the construction boys. Yeah, see, here's that could be the whistleblower right there. Oh, running to go tell it. Like, oh, you incommunicado, is that the name? Is that the word? I think that is how you say it. Yeah, somebody that may have been dismissed from the organization is a bigger threat than what is perceived. Yeah. And they may actually make some leeway with the information that they have to share. They may have some success and also bring a bit of public speculation or a spectacle to whatever this is. Because this is like public recognition, stuff like that on a platform. Oh, it could be somebody like literally taken to the internet and sharing their story. I'm sensing like almost as a security measure, like as their own protection to almost almost like glean more exposure and light, a bit in desperation, if you ask me. It feels like to publicize their experience so as to kind of put the spotlight on them and therefore maybe deter some retaliation for those that may fear being exposed in that light. You know, like basically like if somebody's over here talking and you got either the internet captivated or authorities captivated or whomever will listen is captivated, and there is all eyes on you in some way, that one would feel like that maybe that might actually buy them some security, or at least buy them some time from like I said, the retaliations of the organization that would benefit more from this person kind of disappearing or falling off the face of the earth to save their own. Oh, wow, yeah. To save their own asses and assets, which of course we know is much more about that than anything. All right, so, oh, injustice. There it is. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So, yes, like, if they can't get to whomever this is first, or if this has already happened, and what I'm getting though is like like I said, it's a ploy for protection, but also I'm feeling for like absolution for somebody. It may even be literally somebody making a deal with this justice card, copping a plea with the justice system to expose the inner workings of some operation or some establishment in exchange for either immunity, maybe that's what I'm picking up, or for some lesser sentence. Damn. But I mean, it's a witness credible enough. That's too many. But that was the Queen of Wands. It's a witness credible enough that, yeah, like they trying to get away scot-free. I don't know if they're going to get away scot-free, but, or it may be like some type of witness protection program. Yo, what the heck is this? This is so specific right now. Yeah, somebody might be about to go or is in witness protection on account of how credible they actually are and how much information they have to reveal. Yeah, with this organization, 10 of Pentacles, that's been long-term, long-standing. And their involvement in it, and here we go with the Moon card, the underworkings, the underworld of this organization. So it could be something that's quite public of an establishment, but someone has intel based on their involvement with the underworld or the underbelly of it. What's this? Yeah, with the Three of Cups. Like I said, some mystical, magical madness and mayhem that goes on at the core may even be the foundation of the operation itself, and this is the front. Like how something or somebody really makes their money is about to be exposed and dismantled, and that means everything comes down. Assets frozen, seized, retribution to pay, possible jail time. This is wild. And it's causing a great disturbance on the inside of this organization because nobody knows. It's causing a great disturbance because everybody has something to lose if things come crashing down, but nobody can quite get to the source. It's like they can't quite get to, you know, like I said, like they're used to being able to kind of shut it down, whatever the threat is. But it's not so simple right now for whatever reason. And so it's causing a great disturbance and distraction within the organization now that they're not even on one accord. They can't find a common ground and a common balance to kind of regroup, get their bearings straight, and figure out a wise course of defense. Defense. So there's no agreement on the defense. This could even be a legal team that isn't even on one accord, or there's a disruption between the defendants and their legal representation. So it's just like a hot ass mess. Okay? Because they can't get their story straight. Nobody can agree on a plausible cover, because everyone has no matter how you spin it, somebody is down to have to take the fall or to be exposed for something. It's like everybody's hands are dirty. One thing's for sure is knowing that what evidence is, what witness has been secure, is going to be hard for everybody to get off scot-free. Even with all the power and access and money and authority, it's just too much evidence at this point that there's no way that everybody can get off scot-free. So there may be a fight about who gets to take the fall or who takes the biggest hit, or how they can blame shift it around, who has the least to lose, who has the most to lose, who actually was most involved. So now they're fighting about that, who actually wasn't. But nobody wants to take the rap, naturally. Because whatever this infraction is big. It's like tower car big, like change your life big. And somebody has to answer for it. There's just no way around the truth. It's the only thing that is questionable is who's going to take the fall. And at this point, with there being no synergy between, it's like you can't corroborate a story when all of you are at odds. You know, there has to be a coming together to say this is our story and we're sticking to it. But they can't even agree on one because nobody wants to absorb the guilt. So it's pretty much imploding, like I said, from the inside out, as well as the top down, as well as from the outside. It's like being blown up to smithereens. And it also gives that most likely more people are going to end up taking more of this route, even though they'll have less to gain from it than somebody that obviously kind of got ahead of the curve and said, I'll tell you everything. You know, it's like people are going to end up cutting different deals to try to just eke out as much leniency as they possibly can, especially those that actually feel justified that they shouldn't be taking the rap. Like there may be some a part of this that may not have known. Like I said, there were different levels and ranks to this. So some may literally have not known what was going on in the underworld, or they may have been more committed to the middle management and certainly didn't have access to the top, you know, of they didn't make the call, the orders from the top. Some were just carrying out, some were just, you know, passing it on. Like everybody feels like there's some reason why they should be otherwise absolved, or I don't know. but it's like a guilty by association thing here now, because it's it's like RICO charges or something like that, or racketeering. I did look that up the other day, and it was kind of what I was talking about in that other reading, something like that, where it's like one goes down, everybody goes down, and at some point in time, it kind of becomes like non-essential to know who did what. Like when you go to dinner with a whole group of people and everybody's like, I had the ribs, I just had water, I had the chicken, and you know, everybody's trying to divvy up their portion of the bill. It's like, no, everybody gonna split this 5 ways. Which may or may not be fair, but it might be what it is in this case. Yeah. Blind justice here. Not really, but I think there was a justice card that tried to pop in and pop out. But yeah, there's some, what it is like some indifference here. And it may be from a justice perspective where it's like, were you there? Did you get paid? Were you on the payroll? Did you take the phone call? Were you on the scene? Did you hide the evidence? Did you know and not say anything? You know, it's like whatever your contribution was is still judgment worthy at this point. Nobody is innocent. Unless you truly are. But that would need to be proven. Ace of Cups, yeah. Everybody had something that, you know, it's like when it was good, it was good. Nobody, some people may not have even wanted to ask questions about why it was so good or where this overflow of resources, money, wealth, energy, you know, power, where it was all coming from. And again, this definitely speaks to the attack on divine love and partnership. So that's an inflection of that. Some people may have turned a blind eye, acted like they didn't know, or maybe they really didn't. But again, affiliation, association is the key here. Unfortunately, for some unfortunate souls, I don't know who, but they know, and they're terrified about how this justice and judgment is about to come down. Ooh, boy. How it's about to come down. How it's all backfiring. This is the star witness here. Singing like a bird, giving up all the secrets, because he had a first-hand account, he or she, but it's pretty masculine though. A first-hand account of perhaps every level, because maybe this is somebody that either was at the top of the pyramid or had an association with the figureheads, and all the way through, of course. Maybe it's somebody that worked his way up at some point in time. Maybe he was kind of like a henchman and he kind of moved through the ranks, so he literally knows like the order of operation across the board. So, and he's spilling it, telling everything. I mean, good for him, because, you know, I mean, not for the motivation that is probably empowered by, which is to, again, like, get away scot-free, you know, but everybody meets their karmic retribution no matter what. you know, because even if he were to be sent away to some unknown location, you know, to live a new identity in secret, that's kind of like karmic in itself, you know, like who really wants to do that if you don't have to? So he might have saved his own life, or might be saving his own life, but it still comes at a great cost. And then just the sheer thought of having to look over your shoulder everywhere you go, that's, nobody wants to live like that. Nobody. Never knowing when that shoot, I was about to say when that life, but also I heard lie might catch up with you. So this could be somebody that's, oh, no way. Maybe that's why I'm like, oh, no way. Hold up. Maybe that's why I'm like, is this the Emperor, or is this somebody getting over on the Emperor? It literally could be somebody pulling a Nino Brown type of situation where they were the head of the association, but they flipped and decided to sing on everybody else, and again, like blame shifted on whomever they were actually giving orders to or lording over in some way, shape, or form, blaming it on everybody else and washing their hands clean. Of course they have all the secrets. Of course he has all of the knowledge, because he was the top of the organization. But if he gets to the authorities, or, you know, is clenched first and is willing to cooperate and communicate, then he has the power to really like spin whatever narrative he has evidence for. And in this case, he has a great deal of evidence, because he may or may not have been the head creator or contributor to the collusion. Wow. Yeah, but like here, look, the Knight of Pentacles, it's like it'll catch up. The Knight of Pentacles can't move fast enough. Whatever is thought to have been earned by this flip-flop, because that's what I'm getting now. That's wild. That's why it was a confusion about who is this? Is it the Emperor? Is it not? Because it's wow. So he pretty much would be or is or was willing to overthrow the entire organization to absolve himself. And there it is, the Five of Cups. It will catch up. Either, because, you know, justice system is tricky in spirit and in truth. Well, not so much in spirit. It's pretty straightforward, which is why that retribution can't be escaped no matter what. But in the natural sense, it can get real tricky where they'll cut you a deal on everything that you're saying and just lap it up to take the whole organization down, and then spin the block and come back for you on some new charges or different charges that you don't have immunity for. So it could be something like that. And like I said, you can't outrun that. You can't outsmart it. That's wild. Man, this ain't the season to be in some shady affiliations. I tell you that. Nobody is safe. There's no honor amongst thieves. And the streets is watching. The spiritual streets is watching. So it could be thriving today, but destruction is just around the corner. So it's everybody needs to get out of Dodge at this point. Repent and, you know, hope that your proactive repentance is some grace of immunity, or at least some leniency. Yeah, Five of Swords, exactly. Nobody is safe. The streets is watching, baby. You can be loyal to a fault to some shit that is going down with or without you. It'd be better for it to be without you. What was that? Temperance? Ah, yeah, I knew it. Temperance, exactly. That's Archangel Michael in the realm. Ooh, Lord. With Judgment again and the Eight of Swords. Jail time, or spiritual jail. And the Nine of Wands. Did I say the Eight of Wands? It was the Eight of Swords. The Nine of Wands. And this is the Nine of Wands. That was the Eight of Swords. Yeah, and this is like PTSD. Like I said, somebody thinking they outrunning their karma or their judgment. And here it is, Nine of Wands, right where you left it. Oh my gosh. Judgment, in case you didn't see, I ain't even gonna drag it. Ace of Pentacles. What's that? Oh, the Moon card. Yeah, they cut a deal. They cut a deal, and they thought it was, you know, a lifesaver, a deal of a lifetime. But like I said, tricky. And there were some obscurities about that deal. It's like, yeah, we got you. You're immune on this case. Fingers crossed behind their back. But we going to get you on so-and-so, and that actually might be worse. You know, I don't know what we're actually talking about here. Maybe I should ask. I never really ask specific things like that. Sometimes because I'm just shocked that it's coming out so clearly at all sometimes, because certainly I don't be looking for it. But maybe on the last row we'll consider what somebody gonna get caught up on. I mean, we kind of do know the charge, like generally speaking, but it feels more spiritual than it does physical, like what could be proven in a court of law. So whatever of the spiritual infraction has materialized is the part I'm already picking up on some stuff. Yes, and there's the Lover's card. This was the exchange rate. Because remember, me saying it to me, this is an order even above the Emperor coming from that more diabolical force. They're working for a different entity. So they answer to an authority, at least that they deem to be out of this world or above the limitations of this world. But here was the high exchange rate here. And so perhaps that's where the loss of protection has come from, because like I said, this hasn't been paying like it was supposed, it wasn't being fulfilled the way that it was supposed to. people are finding themselves. They're finding their way to their partnerships. They're finding their peace and their happiness and tranquility just in being their whole, complete selves without partnerships. That's the worst nightmare of a diabolical force, because you can't control that energy. It's not valuable. It's valuable as it is, but more valuable when it can be controlled and manipulated and monopolized. And it's not really the market for that right now. And given that, it almost makes the organization kind of useless if it's not profitable, especially by a certain margin of expectation. Yeah, Knight of Swords. This is the entitlement or the fast action and reaction to kind of reclaim its stability, and because everything crumbles on account of that, which is why there's been an insurgence of attacks and things like, okay, so here we're getting to it. The attacks in the physical sense have veered far beyond just the spiritual nature with the practitioners and the this and the that. It comes back to that spread in the beginning where everybody kind of has a role or has some level of access that's valuable to the overall goal, which is interference in people's lives. So what I was hearing, I heard illegal surveillance, like watching people or interfering with people's personal affairs, of course, and they're none the wiser. Personal attacks on people's livelihoods or their mental stability by way of their material security. All types of liberties have been taken to more or less diffuse the strength of the intended targets to make them more vulnerable to attack. And it was easy to fly under the radar when it was profitable, like it was paying like it weighed to the source that was, that had an expectation for this contract to be fulfilled, so that the exchange rate was protection, was prominence, was promotion and places of and positions of power, was immunity to some degree, invincibility even, so it seemed, cloaking so that certain people could remain concealed and in the shadows and still operate in their functions. Absolution, when crimes and things were committed, there were always judges and lawyers and officials in place to kind of like, glaze over those acts, which means that they were even that much more activated to eliminate threats as needed. But now everybody is hustling everybody and trying to cover their ass, and nobody's secure. And here's the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like all this value, particularly in the feminine energy. So she was probably like a supreme target. If you can disrupt the womb, that space of procreation where it all goes down, and also the nurturer, the one, in this regard, the one who would need to be stable and secure, especially in the world that we live in, where there's been, or at least the nation that we live in, where there's been a great pronunciation of single women, perhaps single mothers even. that have had no choice but to pull it together. Both sides, be mom and dad, in order to nurture something, you know, decent, at least in this world, functional. It's saying to me that a fine job has been achieved, regardless of, in spite of and in light of the infractions that have been incurred, but this was the targeting. So it is certainly more mystical and more universal of an order than it may be national or general. You know, it's like something, it's bigger, but we still live in a 3D world, so it has trickled down to be something that no longer just exists in obscurity anymore. And so therefore there's a reckoning in, not just in the spirit, but also in the flesh, for all that's been incited and all that's been incurred. And this is kind of like the two sides of the spectrum here, like where folks thought they was getting away. No, they're not. And what is due to those that are rightful and righteous to receive it is being returned and restored. Period. I'm not even going to do another line, because who even cares? Honestly, it may even be some stuff that comes out in the wash publicly or, you know, socially or whatever about something such as this that's just maybe the microcosm of what's been going on a more massive scale, you know, this takedown of sorts. But I don't even care to know like what people were doing. I know it was a lot of real shady stuff and a lot of interference in people's personal affairs, literally their stability, their security, their money, their family unit, their mind state, their peace, their prosperity overall. Like however that could be infected is what the ambition was, so that this energy could be manipulated, monopolized, and manhandled for whatever the ulterior, the bigger picture of the adverse agenda would be or is. Yeah, to keep them, this is in prison, spiritual jail or actual jail. And we already knowing that that's the fate, yeah, of this is what anyone has kind of purchased for themselves. Whatever they invested in to contribute, whomever and however investments were made into this agenda, this is the return that will ultimately be magnified by I would say a fair measure of guilt. So whether or not that pans out to be so in the justice system, I would say spiritually speaking, you just going to pay like you weigh. Whatever you sold into is what you're going to reap. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that. This card was bothering me. Oh, look at that. Whatever the actions were taken, I guess I was meant to see that. Whatever ambitions, you know. And it's also saying that what was ultimately gained was minuscule in comparison to what was available on the other side of the spectrum. It's like this is all you gained from all this investment, when you could have taken out that pentacle taking the time and the energy to invest in a higher frequency of work and dedication to self, not to somebody else's bottom line, somebody else's organization, but to self. And that would have been multiplied in dividends by now, or soon to be. But instead, now folks is about to be incarcerated in the mind, body, and or spirit. And that is unfortunate. All right, so I'm gonna leave it here. I'm not gonna get these to balance. Am I? Okay, better. I'm gonna leave this here. Thank you for listening and watching. Take it as it resonates, of course. Leave what does not, because certainly this is a double standard of frequency here, and I pray that you're not on the less favorable side. So just keep on focusing on cultivating that supreme essence of you, focusing on what you're building and creating. I can't say that enough, because there seems to be so many potential distractions that are kind of just blowing up all around us by way of exposure, by way of even confirmation and validation of some interference or adversity in your real life situation that has kept you from achieving this status and frequency here. But all things are coming to a harmonious balance fairly in spirit and in truth. It is so, and so it is. Thank you for listening and watching. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.